Hello, welcome back to the Spider's Web. I'm sorry, it's been a busy week for me last week, so I've not had a chance to do any more on our zombies here, but now's the time. We're going to do something about them now. Okay, so what have we done? I can't quite remember. I think I used dark flesh for the trousers, didn't I? Tar and sand for that top, if I remember rightly, and we used, I think it was Kisler flesh mixed with Screaming Skull for that top, and for the flesh tones we used Elysian green mixed with Screaming Skull, which has done the job quite adequately. But now what we want to do is highlights after washing with Ujit Agrax Earthshade. So let's start with the skin first of all, and we're going to be using Rotting Flesh for the highlight for the skin. I bet you weren't expecting that, were you? So, let's see what we can do. So for our flesh colour, as I say, we're using Rotting Flesh, and we're going to be going over obviously the high points of the flesh. We're also going to be going over the face and the hands, there we go, do the back, and that really is almost as much as we can do. I need to get some more of this, and I know I'm not going to get Rotting Flesh now. It will be the newer version, which may be a slightly different shade, but doesn't matter. I'm forgetting as well that we need to do a little bit there and along there, because that's again is going to be flesh. I'm just going to wet my brush a little bit because I need to get it to a finer point. Okay, so let's carry on with this now. And we just need over the hands again, just a little bit more down here. I think I need a finer brush for this, but this is the fine detail brush, but I've scragged up the bristles, as you can see, so unfortunately I'm not getting the fine point that I should get on this one. to keep going with this and hope for the best. There we are. Okay. And I've left my cloth over the other side of the room. I'll be a second. And just in case you're wondering what the funny noises you can hear in the background, I'm actually printing some request slips off of the hospital radio. Because I've now been voted onto the exec committee of the station, so my role on that is what you call it, 2022. I'm in charge of ward visiting, so I'm trying to get some more request slips printed out so that there's no excuse that there's no request slips. So let's carry on now, and what I've done here is I've mixed the tallow and sand with Screaming Skull. My brain has decided it's going to stop completely now. I'm just going to pop that one over there, and we're going to highlight this one. There we go. As you can see, you can either do this as a dry brush or just go very faintly, very gently over and try and get as little paint onto the model as you can get. Or actually quite literally go in with a very fine brush and just kind of draw where the highlights are going to be. Doesn't matter which of these you decide to do, it both gives the same effect. Well, it gives a similar effect, let's put it that way. It doesn't give the same effect. Dry brushing has a tendency though of leaving a model looking quite powdery, so if you're going to do any of them, I would suggest not using a dry brush technique, but so just going over making it look as though, or try a kind of a dry brush technique but not, have a bit more paint on the brush and just try faintly going over, not faintly, just gently going over and trying to get as little paint on the model as you can get, but as I say, not being a dry brush. Basically going a medium way through, or medium stage between the two techniques. That's picked out some of the highlights there. Okay, so that's one. One of them done. The next one, if I remember rightly, was Kisler Flesh. And I'm trying to make it sound as though I remember what I'm talking about. I don't remember at all what I'm talking about. I've gone back and watched my video again to find out what colours I've used. Honestly, that I have. Because I really couldn't remember for the life of me what colour I used for which. So basically, you know, it's a good job I'm doing these videos, because otherwise I would have never in a million years have remembered, and that would have messed me up completely. But thanks to the magic of video, I am able to remind myself what I've done. It would either that, or I would have had to have made really detailed notes of what I did and why I did it, just in case I don't get to continue with the paint job. So it's been over a week since I did this one. And I say, if I hadn't have had the videos, I'd have been stuffed, because I'd not a clue what I've been doing. And I've actually started doing the green zombies. And with those, I can't remember what I've done. Well, I can remember what I've done. I've done near enough exactly the same for the. Well, I've done exactly the same for the flesh as I've done. That's one of them. I've used, instead of Elysian green, I've used Castellan green, and I've used was it Altdorf Gerd blue? No, I don't think it was. I think it was the Fang I've used. It was the Fang. Yes. And that's what I used for the trousers, and I did the flesh exactly the same as I did the flesh for these. There's 3 of this set, or this figure. I've done them both. Oh, I've done them both. There's 3 of them, and I've done them both. There's 3 of them, and I've done them using the same colours, only different ways. But as I say, I'm using green for these, green and blue, because these are the green zombies. But the ones I'm painting now are the brown zombies, hence the reason I'm doing brownish colours for these ones instead of greens. I'm trying to avoid using green for these two, or for this set. So that's what I've done for the flesh and the tops. Now it's time for the trousers to be done, which was a mixture of dark flesh. In fact, it was just dark flesh. We need to do a mixture of dark flesh and I'm thinking something. In fact, I may just put the dark flesh in with these to make the highlight colour. I'll just have a spot of water in there with it to mix it all together. There you go. And for the toxic ones, I'm not using red, so it doesn't make any difference if I do a little bit of red on these, because I've decided I'm going to use something completely different with them being toxic zombies. Green seems a better idea, so I'm going to be using green for the toxic zombies and not red as the models came. But I'm going to be using, using black. As well as the green, so they will look more, not quite gothic, but quite close. I was tempted of doing black and red, and I may just put a little bit of red in occasionally somewhere, but I don't want them to be red. As I say, even though the toxic zombies, in fact, let's see if I've got any handy. The toxic zombies did in fact come as red models, but that's one of the toxic zombies. But I don't like the idea of them having them red, because toxic colour to me is usually a very pale green, like a scorpion green. So I'm thinking that maybe the better route to go for the toxic zombies. I'm going to do, I think, all of these brown zombies on camera for you. I'm going to do these, what I call gimme a hug zombies. I'm going to do these ones from each thing, but when it comes down to the zombies with grave weapons, I'm just going to do again all the green ones. Sorry, all the brown ones I will do, the green ones I won't. I think I may have to go over this again with the Agrex Earthshade, because it's not quite picking out much of the detail, so for some strange reason it's just all merging, so I'm going on as a flat coat. So I think I might just go over again with the Agrex Earthshade with a very light wash, so I can pick out some detail. But there we go, that's for those ones. And finally, for these two, I'm just going to do these two now as a highlight, and then I will wash, let's say, the trousers, and then I'll wash these ones here. I haven't started on the Hug Me Zombies for the green lot, but as I say, I'm doing the others first off camera. What I need to do now for these is the black, or not the black, is the hair, and for one we're going to have like a brownish colour for the hair, but we'll use Steel Legion Drab mixed with just a spot. With that one to make it a little more gingery colour. There we are. And just dry brush over the hair. You don't want to be covering all the detail. Here we are, and just trying to think of ways now of doing this basing, and I'm going to, no, I'm not going to do the same colour there, I'm going to do grey, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to do Administratum Grey in a dry brush, nothing spectacular. So it's just going to be a dry brush of Administratum Grey just over the top. just like that. Nothing special. There we are. I may even add just a touch of the grey here and there on the skin, on the trousers and the top. Okay, that's that bit done, and next we just want the Eggwax Earth shade out once more. And as I say, I'll just a very fine wash over the trousers. That's that done for that one, and for this one, and then I'm going to wash the other three characters that I've done, give them a proper wash. And I'll again go over the hair with the Eggwax Earth shade, so it dulls down the grey look. And I'll do the face as well for this one. I'll go over the hair on this one as well. It's just to dull it down. I don't want it too bright. There we are. And that. Use that for those. Nothing special, nothing drastic. So that's our Gimme a Hug zombies done. Hope you like them. But for now, take care, God bless, and bye for now.